Hello everyone and welcome back to Academic Scope. Today we're going to cover 2.2 Demand in GCSE Economics. So, this is what the specification requires you to know. Explain what is meant by demand. Draw and explain a demand curve using data including individual and market demand. Draw shifts of and movements along the demand curve. Analyze the causes and consequences for consumers and producers of shifts of and movements along the demand curve. Explain the price elasticity of demand. Draw demand curves of different elasticity, and evaluate the importance of price elasticity of demand to consumers and producers. The specification points with analyze and evaluate are the two 6 markers they can ask you, and be careful because this is one of the most common topics that are tested in the exam. Key points and definitions that you are required to know. The definition of demand is the willingness and ability to purchase a good or service at the given price in a given time period. And the law of demand is the quantity demanded varies inversely with price. In simple terms, as price increases, demand decreases. Below you can also see the difference between individual and market demand. Individual demand is a demand for a good or service by an individual consumer. However, market demand is a total demand for a good or service by adding together all individual demands. Then you can also see the difference between a movement and a shift of the demand curve. A movement along the demand curve is when the price changes, leading to a movement up or down the existing demand curve. And a shift is a complete movement of the existing curve, either outward or inward, and we're going to look at this now. Shifts and movements in demand. A movement causes demand to move up or down, and a shift causes the entire curve to move either right or left, or described as outward or inward. What can cause a shift in a demand curve? This is very important. Only non-price factors can cause the demand curve to shift. This includes income, marketing, taste and fashion, substitutes and complements, population, government policies, and economic situations. For example, if tastes and fashions increase for leather jackets, the demand for leather jackets will shift right. However, a movement, a contraction or expansion, which is a technical terminology for an upwards or downwards movement, is caused by a change in price. If the price increases, demand will contract. If the price decreases, demand will expand. Now, price elasticity of demand is an extremely important concept. PED refers to the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in price, and is calculated by the equation percentage change in quantity demanded divided by a percentage change in price. Inelastic demand is when the percentage change in quantity demanded is less than the percentage change in price. However, elastic demand is when the percentage change in quantity demanded is greater than the percentage change in price. PED will always be written as a negative value because it obeys the law of demand as the demand curve slopes downwards. Some basic quantities that you should know. A perfectly priced and elastic good has a PED of -0. A unitary price elastic, where the percentage change in quantity demanded is equal to the percentage change in price, has a PED of -1, and a perfectly elastic good has a PED of -infinity. However, perfectly priced inelastic and perfectly priced elastic goods are simply theoretical and they don't actually exist. Factors that affect PED. You can remember this as splat, and B was just separate. Substitutes. If there are a lot of substitutes available for a product, then the PED of a product is likely to be elastic, as consumers can simply go to a different firm to buy it, and they don't have to buy it from that firm. Proportion of income. If a good takes a high percentage of income, it's likely to have an elastic PED, because you're more likely to buy it if the price decreases. Luxury. If a good is luxury, it will have an elastic PED. For example, if a Louis Vuitton or Gucci bag decreases in price significantly, the demand will increase by an even larger extent, because more people would like to own it. Addiction. If people are addicted to a good or service, such as alcohol, cigarettes, or other goods, it will have an inelastic PED, as people will continue to buy it no matter the price. Time period. Over time, the PED will become elastic for anything, as more firms can create substitutes. And lastly, branding. Branding can cause a good or service to have an inelastic PED, and it's similar to luxury or addiction. Importance of PED. This is a very common 6 marker, and is very easy to answer if you just simply memorize these points. The importance of PED to firms. It allows them to know how to maximize revenue by raising or lowering prices. If they have an elastic PED, decreasing prices will increase revenue. This will allow them to make a profit, gain low interest bank loans, and expand, increasing productivity and gaining economies of scale. This is a very simple chain of reasoning, and in the exam you might want to expand on it using data from the case study or application to gain those maximum marks. It tells firms to price discriminate against different consumers. Price discrimination is when you charge consumers different prices for the same product. For example, train tickets. At peak times, train tickets cost more than at later times. The same product is being given, but the price is different. This will maximize revenue by charging consumers different prices in different scenarios. And lastly, it helps them decide whether to enter the market. If PED for a good or service is very elastic, there are likely many substitutes and a lot of competition. This means it will be difficult for them to survive and make a profit due to price competitiveness. An evaluation. PED is very difficult to calculate and can change seasonally. Firms might not want maximum revenue at that moment and may want to increase market share, decrease cost, or build brand loyalty, even if it means taking less profits. Price discrimination can lead to negative publicity and damage revenue in the long run. And in the long run, consumers will always shift away and find alternatives, and PED will become more elastic in the long run, no matter what. Importance of PED to consumers. Important. They want to know PED, as if it is inelastic, cost rises will be passed on to consumers as firms seek profit. If PED is inelastic, then the government is likely to place taxes on the good. This has been seen on tobacco, petrol, and sugar tax. If it is inelastic, consumers can start looking for substitutes early, as there are not many, and it tells consumers if there are any substitutes. An evaluation. PED can be hard to calculate, and it becomes more elastic in the long run. Consumers might not be able to find substitutes. PED can vary on the season and time, and some consumers might not care about price increases as they have a very large income. So, now I can give you a practice 6 marker. Evaluate the importance of price elasticity of demand of petrol for consumers. Use the information given extract on and your own knowledge. Pause the video now and take a few minutes to read and answer it. Alright, so the mark scheme is on the left and some additional points which I have added on the right. It can help them plan expenditure as you know how a small change in price will affect them, as it shows the price fluctuates quite a lot. Consumers can try to change their price elasticity by changing their pattern of demand or use of cars. They can make their price elasticity more elastic by using electric cars or even using cars less so they don't buy petrol that much. And you can allow comparison with other transport methods. Evaluation of these points include, it may depend on their use of petrol, it may depend on the number of electric vehicles owned, which is directly mentioned in the case study, allowing for more application marks. May have declined in importance due to working from home after COVID, and problems of knowing the value of PED. Thank you for watching Academic Scope, and make sure to tune in next time to go to 2.3, Supply. And join the Discord in the link in the description to join a community of like-minded students, where we discuss problems and can discuss revision techniques. Thank you for watching.